talking about the new category that APC has just opened up this year called the Information Campaign. I want to just get an idea. Have most of you who are here in this room, have you already registered for the Information Campaign, or are you thinking about registering? You can write it in the chat or unmute yourself.
I'm thinking about registering.
Okay. So is there anyone here who's already registered for it? Yes, no. And you guys can turn on your video as well so I can see you. So. Okay, so if you see the link in the chat, if you haven't registered yet, feel free to do that. Inshallah, the link is in the chat. All right, let's begin. So what is the Information Campaign? So this new category that EPC has opened is a category that is there to allow you to create awareness about an important social topic related to the theme, right? It's a way for you to go beyond just essays and speeches. It's a way for you to be creative and choose your own way to convey information that is important to you. So this is a way that we are trying to allow you to leverage your skills, whatever they are. Maybe you're more artistic, maybe you're more articulate, right? And you use whatever skills you have to conduct this campaign. It is 5 weeks long. So unlike the speech and essay, you're not just preparing for, presenting on competition day. You're actually conducting, the campaign over a span of 5 weeks. So you're going to be writing or designing or doing whatever it is that your campaign is doing for the entire span of the campaign time. So it's about 5 to 6 weeks, depending on when you're going to be presenting. And you can choose how often you want to, share your information. You could do it every week, every few days, and we'll get into more of what exactly you're going to be doing later on, inshallah. But keep in mind that this competition is not something that is just preparation for competition day, which is a part of it, but it's also you being present and being active over the 5 or 6 weeks that precede competition day, that are before competition day. This is a category where you may work individually. You may also work in groups. So unlike the speech and essay, where every person is entering the competition on their own, in this one, you can actually have a team of up to 3 people working with you. However, your team must be, so if you're in middle school, everyone else in your team should also be in middle school. If you're in high school, everyone else in your team should also be in high school, right? This competition is only open to grades 5 to 12, right? So there's no levels 1 and 2. Unlike the essay and speech, this one for the campaign is only open to levels 3, 4, 5, and 6, all right? So the work that you do over the span of the 5 to 6 weeks before the competition day should be documented. You're going to keep track of it, and then you're going to put together a presentation that you will show the judges at the end of your campaign on competition day, and that's what you're going to be judged on. So let us figure out what exactly you're going to be doing. So the first step that you're going to take is choose a topic. Okay. Like I said, a lot of the campaign is open to your interpretation. So you're able to choose your own topic that you want to campaign about. The topic has to be related to the theme of the competition. So the theme is the earth, a gift from Allah, right? Now, the topic that we've given for essays and speeches, that's not the topic you're going to be covering. You can choose your own topic. And it should be a little more specific, right? Don't just talk about why the earth is important, right? Make it a specific issue that is related to environmental or climate justice, and make sure you're able to connect it somehow with your Islamic principles and values. Okay. And whatever topic you choose, and you may choose more than one at first, you're going to lay it out in a proposal, which is really just a Google form where you write it down. And you're going to submit that Google form, and we'll get back to you and say, okay, this topic is good, go ahead and do it, right? If you have 2 or 3 things that you want to propose, then you can put that in the form, or, submit multiple forms, right? And we can approve of, maybe we will approve all of them, maybe only some of them, and then you choose which one you like the most. After you submit the Google form, we'll get back to you in a few days and say, all right, go ahead, start your campaign with this topic. do not start your campaign before your topic is approved, because if it doesn't get approved, then you might have to backtrack and start over, right? The deadline for submitting your topic is December 9th. If you can't do it by December 9th and you have to do it a little bit after that, that's okay. But keep in mind that the more you delay, the less time you'll have to actually do your campaign, which means the less you'll be able to do. And that's not great for your scoring, for the competition. So the sooner you start, the better. So try to submit the form with the topic by December 9th, inshallah. This is the form, I believe. I sent it in the chat. There's also a QR code right here. If you scan that, that should take you to the form. So save this link. We'll also send it to you once you register. We'll have your email. We will send you the different, the other, information that you'll need. We'll send you the link to the form. I'll send you these slides. I'll send you another, a document with guidelines, the rubric, all that stuff. But if you want to save it here, please do that as well. Okay, any questions so far about the topic or the idea of the information campaign? You can write in the chat or raise your hand or unmute yourself. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's about the topic. You only. It says in the chat that you sent it only to me. It's private.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Let me do that again. There we go. Can everyone see that now?
Yes.
Okay. Sister Akam, you had a question? You raise your hand. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
For like the first slide you did, do you have to be in grades 5 through 12, or could you be like 4th grade?
So if you're in a team, and you're in 4th grade and you want to participate in the middle school category, I think that should be fine. If you're alone and you want to do that, that's also fine. Just keep in mind that you will be combined. If you're in 4th grade, you will be competing with 5th, 6th, and 7th graders. And 8th graders, I think. So I think 5th to 8th grade is one category, 9th to 12th is another. But if you decide that you're in 4th grade, but you're going, go for it. Okay, that's fine. But you will be combined with levels 4 and 5 for only this. Obviously, for speech and essay, that's a different thing. So you'll be with your own grade level for that. Okay.
Okay. Is there 4 categories for like each part, or is it only one category?
No. So middle school is all together and high school is all together. So levels 5 and 6 are one category, and level 3 and 4 is another category. 3 and 4 is grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, if you are 4th grade and you want to join the middle school category, that's fine. But just keep in mind that you will be competing against people from grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, but that's totally fine.
Okay.
So, okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on, inshallah. All right, so the first thing that you need to do when starting your campaign is identify what your goal is. So what is the goal of your campaign? For example, you've chosen a topic. What do you want to do? Do you want to make people be aware of this issue that you've identified? Do you want to spread awareness? Are you trying to raise money for a cause? Maybe there's a cause, there's some nonprofit organization that is, creating some sort of change that you are interested in, and you want to let people know about this and raise money for that. Do you want people to do something? Maybe they, can write to their, elected official, or you want them to clean up something, or, take some sort of action. What exactly is it that you want them to do through your campaign, right? And it can be multiple of these things. Maybe you want to create awareness and, call to a certain action. But before you start, make sure you identify what is your goal, right? Don't just start and say, well, my topic is this, I'm going to write things about this, but I don't really know what people should do with this information. No, make sure you know what you want people to do so that when you write or create or design or whatever it is that you're doing for your campaign, you know what the purpose of that is, and you can tell people that this is what you should get out of this, right? The second thing is write a mission statement. Now, what is a mission statement? Okay, a mission statement is just a sentence or two that tells people who have no idea what your campaign is about. It tells people this is what I'm doing, right? It includes what is your campaign doing, right? What's the purpose of it? What's the goal? That's what we've just talked about. Who is your target audience? So who are you trying to campaign to, right? Are you specifically targeting your classmates in your school or your Muslim community from your masjid? Maybe all the Muslims in America or all the people in America or your neighborhood? Who is it that you're talking to, right? So make sure that's identified. And then how are you planning on achieving your goal, right? Suppose your goal is to create awareness about an issue, right? You want people to know about this issue that's interesting to you. How are you planning on doing that? Are you going to talk about it, show them pictures and videos? What is it? What's your strategy, right? And then for more details about how exactly to write a mission statement or to see examples, you can always look online. A mission statement is a very important thing. It's very common. So search online how to write a mission statement. You'll find a lot of good information, okay? But essentially it should include these three things, okay? If anyone has any questions, by the way, while I'm speaking, please feel free to raise your hand or write in the chat. Okay. The next thing you're going to do after that is identify what platform you're going to use for your campaign. So you can use any platform that gets your message out to people. It can be online, it can be in person, it can be social media, it can be YouTube, it can be blogs, it can be a website, it can be in person, you can give a speech, you can pass out pamphlets, you can put up posters, you can do anything that gets your message to other people, right? It can be online, it can be in person, it can be anything you want, right? Again, that's open to you. Use multiple platforms. So don't just stick to one thing. Like, don't just say you're making posters and posting it on the wall of your school and your masjid and, you know, your wherever. Don't just do that. Do at least 2 or 3 things, right? Diversify your platform, make it different, make it, you know, do more than one thing so that there's a higher possibility that more people will see what you're doing, right? If you're just putting out posters, well, there might be people who don't really go out much or don't go to these places, but they're online a lot, right? So they would come across your video on YouTube or something like that. So try to do different things, okay? Don't just stick to one thing. But make sure that whatever platform you choose is something that your target audience will see. So remember we talked about last slide is, who is your target audience, right? That's a part of your mission statement. Who are you addressing? Is it your classmates? Is it the Muslims in your masjid? Is it your whole school? Is it all of the people in America? Who is it, right? Make sure whatever platform you choose is something that those people will see. So for example, if it's your classmates and, you know, the rest of the people in your school, maybe you don't want to put up posters in, you know, only the masjid, because then maybe all the people from your school don't go to your masjid, right? So maybe it might be a better idea to put whatever your work is in your school newsletter, because that's something your people in your school will see, right? So make sure whoever your target audience is, the platform you choose is something that they will be able to see and they will access, okay? All right. Now, after you've chosen your platform, you need to figure out what content you're going to make, what you're going to use to spread your message. So that could be, you know, you might be really good at making videos. So you might want to make a video explaining your ideas, explaining your, you know, whatever you've chosen to campaign. You might be good at art. You want to draw something, you want to paint something, you want to create a 3D model of something. Maybe you're good at putting together a pamphlet, right? And you can print that out and hand that out to people. Maybe you're good at social media and you want to create that post and post it online. Maybe you're good at writing and you want to write a short article or a little, you know, blurb and put it somewhere. Or you want to interview someone who knows more about this topic than you do, right? And you take a video and spread it, or you write it out, right? Or you create a presentation to present to somebody. Anything that you're good at, you can choose that as a strategy. Use your imagination, right? If you're good at art, if you're good at videos, if you're good at speaking, if you're good at writing, whatever you're good at, use that to spread your message, okay? And you're free to use whatever type of method you want. It can be one of these that I listed. It can be something else, right? If you're confused about something that you can or cannot use and you want to ask us, you can always email us, right? I'll mention the email at the end, but you're free to communicate with us and ask us as many questions as you want. Somebody asked in the chat, how do we get our topic approved? I've sent the form where you can submit your topic for approval, and we will email you and letting you know whether or not it's approved. The deadline for that is December 9th, inshallah. If you need to take a little more time, you can, but the sooner you do it, the better. Can we make posters? That's another question. Yes, you most certainly can make posters. You can make posters, you can put them wherever you want. You can print them out and post and stick them on walls or something in places. You can post them online. You can make posters, right? Anything you want. Just remember, be creative, right? Make it something that's nice to look at. It has information and it's interesting. It's something that will grab people's attention, right? Because you want people to be looking at this. Okay, good. All right. Any other questions? All right. So after you have designed your content, make sure you're going to start conducting your campaign, and make sure you keep track of what you do throughout your campaign. So thank you. So you will present your campaign on competition day. If you live in the DMV area, which is a DC, Maryland, Virginia area, that day is going to be January 21st at the Diana Center of America, inshallah. If you live somewhere else outside of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, then that's going to be January 14th online, inshallah. Okay. There's a question in the chat. What is the due date and how do we share our campaign with you guys? So the due date, so the thing is about the campaign, it's something that's conducted over the period of 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks, right? So you're going to start next week, right after you get your topic approved. That's when you start. And that's when you start, creating content, making a video, writing an essay or an article, or making a poster, or drawing some artwork and spreading that to people, maybe, passing out pamphlets, whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to start that right after your topic is approved. And you're going to continue doing that over time, and you can change it up, right? Maybe 1 week you decide to pass out pamphlets, the next week you do posters, the next week you make a video, right? You change it up and you make, content and share your message consistently over the period of the full 5 weeks. And then on competition day, which is one of these 2 days that are on the screen, January 14th or 21st, depending on where you live, that's the day where you're going to present your content to the judges. You're going to say, this is what I did, and this is when I did it, and this is how I did it. And we're going to talk more about that later, right? That's the deadline for the presentation, but there is no deadline for the campaign. The campaign has to be conducted over 6 weeks. So it's not like an essay where, you work on it whenever you want, and then you present it on one day, or the speech competition, right? Where you work on it beforehand, and then on the competition day, you present it, you give the speech. That's not how this is. This is something that you need to be doing consistently for a few weeks before the day that you present it, okay? Okay, so now on the day of the competition, what are you going to be presenting, right? There's going to be judges, and you will have, by the competition day, you will have been doing your campaign for the past few weeks. So you already have a lot of content, but you need to put together presentation for the judges. Your presentation will be a PowerPoint presentation, or you can use anything else that, can project onto a screen. You can use Prezi, Google Slides, whatever it is you need to use. It should be kind of like a PowerPoint. And in that presentation, you were going to tell the judges the following. You're going to tell them what your topic is, right? What your goal and mission statement are. And we've discussed that. The timeline of your campaign. So when you started, when you finished, and what you did at each milestone. So you can say, on this day, I handed out 100 flyers. Then 2 days later, on this day, I released a video. On this day, I did this. You're going to tell them exactly what you did over the entire time period, right? And then you're going to give details on how you conducted your campaign, right? So not only the days that you did it, but how did you do it? Where did you do it? Did you face any problems? Did you get any feedback, right? And interact with your audience. So if you are you're giving out pamphlets to people, for example, right? Maybe talk to them too. Say, oh, what do you think about this issue, right? Do you have any experience with this? And maybe some of them will tell you, oh, this is really important. I've actually done X, Y, Z. And you can include that in your presentation. Say, I got feedback. People thought this was an important issue, or a lot of people didn't seem to know about this at all, right? You can tell us what people thought about your campaign. Then show your work. So in your presentation, on your slides, right? If you made a poster, that poster should be up there on your slide. If you made a video, show the video on your slide, right? If you wrote an article, right? Show it on your slide and then summarize it. Don't read, right? Don't make sure whatever's on your slides, you're not reading it out, but it should be there and you should be explaining it to us, okay? And then reflect on your campaign. Think about, what did I learn from this? Is there anything I would do differently now that I know how it turned out? Is this issue something that I still think is important? Did people think it was important? What else can be done to solve this issue that I chose? Are there any organizations that are doing what I'm trying to do that maybe people can look into, right? If they're still interested in this issue now that my campaign is done, right? So reflect on your campaign, on the issue that you've chosen, on any related issues, things like that. Okay. Keep in mind that for the presentation on competition day, you have 10 to 15 minutes. So ideally take about 12 minutes, but if you need to go a little longer, maybe you have a video that you want to show, then you can take up to 15. Okay, are there any more questions about the presentation or any of the content we've covered so far? You can raise your hand or put it in the chat. I'll give you about a minute. Go ahead, Tisrahan.
On your website, it said that if you're in a specific level, you got a specific amount of time for the essay. Is there a different my question is there sections of what you do? Like, for example, if you're in level 3, I'm pretty sure you get 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, is that counted as your time for presentation?
Okay, so keep in mind that this is a new category for EPC, right? So this is not the essay and this is not the speech. This is a totally different thing. So what you see on the website, that is for your speech on competition day. For that, you have a topic, right? They've given you a specific topic. It's like a little paragraph that's telling you exactly what to speak about, right? And that speech is going to be related to your essay. So first, you're going to write an essay about that topic, and then you're going to speak about that topic based on your essay. Now, this campaign, information campaign category is a totally different category, right? There is no topic. You get to choose your own topic. It's not an essay. It's not a speech. You get to choose how you want to do it, right? So for this one, there's no specific time limit based on level. It's just this one, 10 to 15 minutes for everyone, right? And keep in mind that this is something totally different from the essay and speech, right? That's one category. This is another category, okay? So anything you see on the website about how to do your essay and speech, that doesn't apply to this, okay? For this, I'll send out another set of guidelines. Anyone who registers for it, inshallah, should get an email. At some point, it will have these slides. It will have the guidelines for how to do the campaign. It will have the rubric. It will have the link to the form. It'll have all that information, but this is something different from the essay and speech competition. Is that clear?
Wait, so basically you kind of need this to continue with your essay.
Say that again.
This is kind of a part of your essay, but a different subject.
No, this is a totally different competition. So you can choose. Maybe you just want to do your essay. If you are only doing the essay and speech competition, everything in this workshop is not relevant to you. This is a totally different competition. So there's an essay and speech for which you already have a topic, you prepare your essay, you give a speech on it. That's one entire thing. Then there's another whole category, right? It's not related to the essay and speech at all. And that is the information campaign. For that, you get to choose your own topic. You get to, make whatever you want. It can be in the form of posters, it can be videos, it can be whatever. And that is totally separate from the essay and speech, right? It's a different competition, right? You'll be against different people. You can work in teams, right? In the essay and speech, you can't work in teams. This is a different competition. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have a question? Go ahead. Simra?
Yeah, so basically what you told right now was that basically This, which you're showing us right now, is totally different from the essay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's going to be another workshop about the essay next weekend, inshallah. So if you want to know more about the essay, make sure you go to that workshop, right? So this is not about the essay. This is a different category in EPC called the information campaign. And this one is more flexible than the essay and speech, right? Where you get to choose your topic, you get to choose how you want to present it, how you want to do it. And unlike the essay where you write it and submit it, this one, you keep doing it. And then on competition day, you present it, right? It's different from the essay. Zaid Khan.
Yeah, so I actually signed up for the for the essay, speech, and extemporaneous competitions already, but
Yeah.
now I want to sign up for this one as well because I wasn't really sure what it was about. So how do I do that?
Okay. Danya can back me up here, but I think you would just, well, two things. One, you can email essays@moffic.org, but you can also just submit the form again.
Okay.
Go to the drop form that you used and just do it all over again. And
Alright.
this time select all the competitions that you want to do.
Okay.
Makes sense? And then also, if you want, just email essays and just let them know that's what you did.
One more thing is I chose the PayPal button for the Moffic for the competition. How much is that? I wasn't sure. It didn't show the price when I clicked on the button like sign up.
All right, can we get a comment for I'm not sure about that, to be honest. You can either email essays@moffic.org or perhaps Daniel will have an answer.
I'm not sure myself either, but I can ask someone on the team and let you know. Actually, I think it should have been $10, but yeah, I'll just check as well.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah. Send us an email so that we can get back to you personally.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Salsabil?
For the essay competition, is it still going to be like at Dinyat Center and like that, or where is it?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Like for the essay competition, is it going to be at Dinyat Center, or is only this one going to be at Dinyat?
Yes, the essay competition will be the same location. I'm pretty sure it's Diana Center. And you would have gotten an email about that. It will be in the same place as the essay competition and speech competition.
Okay, thank you.
I see another question here about, can we share our essay and speech in our campaign if the topics are linked? Yes. If you've written your essay and you think this is something you want to share in your campaign, if it relates to your topic, then go ahead, put it as a part of your campaign. But that can't be the only thing in your campaign, right? Because the campaign has to be something that is a little diverse. So it has to have multiple different things. It has to be spread over the time period. So maybe if you're sharing parts of your essay over the time, that could be a part of it, right? But your entire campaign can't only consist of your essay and speech. It has to have more than that. It has to have a more creative element. Okay. Ahlam?
I also had a question. Is this campaign is this like information campaign being held on the same day as the essay competition?
Yes. So if you live in Washington, D.C., Maryland, or Virginia, then the information campaign presentation will be on the same day as the speech competition in person on January 21st at the Deanna Center of America. But if you do not live near in DC, Maryland, or Virginia, then you will join us online on Zoom on January 14th, right, the week before, and that's where you're going to do your speech and your presentation. Right? It's going to be at a different time, so it won't overlap. Or if it does overlap, we'll accommodate. If you are doing both. But yes, it will be on the same day and in the same place as the essay and speech competition. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just have like two questions. So first of all, I plan on joining virtually because it's kind of far. So should for the speech, not the extemporaneous, but for the speech, the essay and the speech, right?
Mhm.
For the speech, do we have to pre-record it, or will there be like a session where you present?
No, you are going to have a session where you present. So your speech will not be pre-recorded and your campaign presentation will not be pre-recorded. Both of them, you need to be there to present live.
Okay, and to confirm, the extemporaneous is separate from the speech.
Yes, this extemporaneous is also a separate category. The topic will not be the same as the speech topic.
Yeah, of course. And also I noticed on the website it mentioned like a poster and multimedia. Is that a separate competition? Or is that part of
So
the
that competition is not being offered this year. Did you
Sorry?
see that in the rubric or somewhere else?
Yeah, I think I saw in
Yeah. So that you probably noticed that wasn't an option in the jot form for
Yeah.
registration. That competition is not being offered that year. That's something we had last year. But this year, if you want to do a poster or multimedia, you are encouraged to register for the information campaign and do that as a part of your information campaign.
Okay, thank you. Also, last thing is that I noticed like if you do it all four, there's like a grand prize or something. What exactly is that?
Good question. Danya? I believe for someone who does more than one category, I think all four, then I guess whoever out of the people who've done all four, whoever gets the highest score, I believe, wins that. But I'm gonna have to double check.
Alright. Okay.
Sorry, are we talking about the prizes? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, the grand prize for someone who does all categories.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm actually not sure about that either. So I can get that information and we can send it out in an email, or it might be, yeah, I'm actually not sure, but I will get more information on that, inshallah.
Okay.
I also see another question in the chat asking, will there be a workshop for the extemporaneous speaking competition? As far as I know, there is not a workshop specifically for that, but there is a workshop about the arts of writing and speaking, and that will also be relevant to you if you're doing the extemporaneous speaking competition. It'll talk about, how to give a speech, but in terms of a workshop specifically for that category, I don't think there is one yet. But again, if you want to make sure, you can always email Mafik and they can confirm for you. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. Okay, if there are no other questions, I will move on to the rubric. So this is how you are going to be judged on competition day. This is what will determine who wins first, who wins second, who wins third. Okay. So the first thing you will be judged on is the content of your campaign. All right. How relevant is your campaign to the theme, right? When you submit your topic, we are going to make sure that your topic is relevant to the theme, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all the content you produced will be relevant, right? So in the judging, we will decide, well, this poster that you made was nice, but it wasn't really too relevant to the theme or to your topic. Or maybe this, post you sent out was really good, but it wasn't too relevant, or it was very relevant. All of the content that you produced was relevant, right? So that's what we're looking for. We want it to be relevant. All of the content you produce should be relevant to the theme. The next thing, a part of content is your content original and creative, right? Was it presented well? So if your content is just, this is what I found on this website, this is what I found on that website, this is what this person says, that's not very original, right? We want to see that you have an interesting take on this issue. You are presenting it in a way that shows that you thought about it, right? This is something that's important to you and you're presenting it in a way that is interesting. The ideas are interesting. You've researched this content well, right? You know what you're talking about. You're not just, saying a few simple lines that someone else has said or that you just made up, right? It has to be something that shows that you know what you're talking about and that you're convincing, right? Whatever content you're producing, whatever things you're saying is something that is persuasive, right? It is trying to convince other people of something, right? It's not just kind of boring, if that makes sense. Okay, so that is the category of content that you'll be scored on. The next thing you'll be scored on, and this is in terms of not the presentation, but the actual campaign content that you've produced over the past 5 weeks, right? The second thing you'll be scored on is delivery. So how was your campaign delivered? Did you use multiple platforms? Were these platforms relevant to your audience, right? We talked about this earlier in the presentation that you want to use multiple platforms, right? Make it different. Don't just use the same thing over and over again. Make sure whatever platform you're using is relevant to your target audience. So something that, they will have access to. And then make sure that whatever style of delivery you choose, whether that be posters or videos or whatever, that style was effective in reaching your goal, right? So that's something that contributed directly to your goal, right? And show us how you did that. And then in terms of delivery, we also want to know that you put in your full effort, right? We can tell that whatever you produced, that took time, that took effort, right? It wasn't just something you put together last minute, right? It needs to show that you actually spent the full amount of time, the full 5 weeks, you spent the whole time, working on your campaign, right? It's not that you just started 1 week ago and you put out a bunch of things within 1 week, right? We need to see that you've done it over the whole time period, right? And it doesn't mean that you're working on it every single day. It just means that you've spread it out, right? Because things like this, when you're trying to spread a message, it takes time. If you just do it for 1 week, the number of people who will see it is going to be very small. But if you spread it out, even if it's the same amount of content, but you spread it out over 5 weeks, it's more likely to reach more people, right? So we need to see that you spread it out and that you spent time, right? And the more, the more effort you put into it, the more we can see that, it was effective, the higher score you'll get. Okay, and the last thing you will be scored on is the presentation itself. So we're going to look at your presentation and see, does this presentation tell the story of this campaign? Does it tell us exactly what this campaign did, right? Give us a full picture of the campaign, or is it just kind of like, bits and pieces, but we're really not sure how the campaign worked? We need to be sure that we know this is how the campaign was. So your presentation needs to tell us that, the full story. The presentation also should be visually appealing. So we need to be able to look at the presentation and say, okay, this looks interesting, right? Not just the campaign, but the presentation of the campaign needs to be interesting. So, colors, maybe don't just make it black and white. Make it so that it looks interesting, right? The PowerPoint presentation that you make, that's what this is about, the presentation. It needs to look interesting. And lastly, the presenter. When you are presenting your campaign, when you're talking about it to the judges, it needs to be powerful. It needs to be effective, right? You need to be making eye contact with the judges. It's kind of like giving the speech, right? You need to be making eye contact. You need to be, using smooth language, right? Don't stutter too much. Don't read off the slides, okay? You need to be interacting with the slides somewhat, right? So don't read off of cards either, but, don't just ignore the slides and don't be reading off of them. You need to interact with the slides a little bit, but also interact with the audience. Make sure you're looking at them, you're talking to them, right? So that's the third thing you're going to be scored on, the presentation aspect of the campaign. And that is what we are going to see on competition day. Okay, any questions so far? And this rubric, by the way, is also going to be sent out to you. It's also on the website. If you go to epc.moffic.org and go to information for participants and scroll down to essays, I think it's called essays or rubrics and something, scroll down and you'll see this there. Okay. All right. Any questions? Ahmad, yes. Go ahead.
So the rubric that you just showed us is for the information campaign, right?
Yes.
And is there a specific amount?
Your voice cut out a little bit. I didn't hear what you asked at the end. You were asking, is there a rubric for the essay and speech?
Is there a specific amount of slides you're supposed to?
Oh, okay. No, it has to be enough slides that it tells your whole story, but not too many slides that it's overwhelming, right? Keep in mind you have 10 to 15 minutes. So you don't want to have like 30 slides and be going through them super fast, right? Unless they're pictures or something, right? If each slide has a picture, that's fine. Maybe you have a lot of pictures, right? Suppose you did an event in person. And yeah, that's another thing. When you're documenting your campaign, if you did something in person, take a picture of what you did. Take a video. If you gave a speech in front of people in real life, have someone take a video of that speech and put that in your presentation, right? If you were putting up flyers somewhere or sorry, posters, take a picture maybe of the place where you did it and you can put that in your presentation, right? So if your presentation has like, if there's like words on the screen, that might take longer to present than if there's just a picture, which will only take a few seconds to see, right? So it's up to you how many slides you want, but keep in mind that you have 10 to 15 minutes to present the slides and you want to be going at a steady pace, right? You don't want to be like at the beginning, you're taking your time and then you realize at the end you have 2 minutes left, but you have like 20 slides. That's not good, right? So make sure you practice it beforehand and make sure that the number of slides corresponds to how much time you have, but there's no limit, minimum or maximum to how many slides you need to have.
I had a question on the essay
Go ahead.
campaign. So, how do you present it? Like, do you put it on a Google document or do you put it on a Google slide? I mean, PowerPoint.
Are you talking about if you write an essay for the information campaign, or are you talking about the essay competition?
The essay competition.
So the essay competition is not going to be, is a totally different competition from the information campaign competition, right? So for the essay competition, you write your essay, you submit it to judges, and then on competition day, you don't present your essay, you give a speech, right? And the content of that speech is going to be the same stuff you wrote in that essay, right? But it's going to be in the form of a speech. So it's not a presentation, it's not a slide or anything. There's no slides involved in the essay speech. It's just write an essay and then you give a speech, and it's only you giving the speech. There's no slides. The only thing that has slides is the information campaign.
So basically, you write your essay, you submit it to the website, and then you just like say a short speech about it in like a summary.
No, you're gonna give a full speech. It's gonna have to be. It's like the length it would take you to read out your essay. That's kind of how long your speech about it should be around. But you're not really just going to be reading your essay. You need to kind of understand it and know what you're talking about and give a full speech. And it should be, I think there's time limits on the website. It'll tell you, depending on what level you're in, this is how much time you have. And you want to take around that much time to give your speech, right? So it's not just a short summary, it's a full speech. And there's a workshop about how to do the essay and speech in a few weeks, or next week, I think. Maybe the week after that. Let me see. Yeah, so in 2 weeks. December 24th at 1 p.m. That's where you find more information about the essay and speech. And next week on December 10th, there's an essay about brainstorming for your essay specifically. There's a workshop, sorry, about brainstorming for your essay. So if you attend those 2 workshops, you'll get a lot more information about that question. Okay, Simra? Simra, do you have a question?
Yeah. So basically when we present like on the January 1st, when we present, is it like if you wrote things on like a Google slide or something, how would it like just be shown? Would it just be shown, like how would it be shown on like the presentation?
So on the presentation day, you're going to put together a slideshow, kind of how I did, right? Except yours has to be more interesting, right? I'm just presenting a workshop. I'm not presenting a campaign, right? So yours is going to look cooler than this. But basically, you're going to put together a slideshow like this, and it's going to be projected onto a screen, and the judges will be able to see it, and you'll be standing in front of it, and you'll be going through the slides one by one, and each time you get to a slide, you're going to explain what's on the slide. And you're going to organize your slides like a presentation. So you're going to start with an introduction, right? You're going to say, this is my campaign. This is what the topic is. Then the next slide is going to be like, this is the goal of the campaign. This is my mission statement. Then the next slide is going to be like, this is my timeline. This is what I did over the full time. Then the next slide is going to say, this is an example of the pamphlet that I gave out to people. The next slide is going to say, this is an example of the poster I put, or whatever it is that you did, right? The next slide is going to be like, this is a video that I posted on YouTube. Let me show it to you. And you're going to play the video in your slide. You can do that as well. Or it might have a link and then, your slide will take you to a YouTube link or something, right? And you say, this is the video that I posted about my campaign, or not about my campaign, but about the topic as a part of my campaign. And keep in mind, if you have videos to play, try not to let them be more than 3 or 4 minutes long. They shouldn't take up too much time. A lot of your presentation should be you talking. So if you have some longer videos, cut them down for the presentation. Just take snippets of them, just a few clips out of the video and put that together for your presentation as opposed to having the whole video. Okay. If they're long, if they're short, you can keep the whole thing. All right. And then each of your slides, at the end, you're going to have your conclusion and reflections about your campaign. Right. So that's how your slideshow should look.
And also when you're like doing, if you have a video showed, can you use like any website to show? Does it have to be posted like in actual social media, for example, YouTube?
No, it doesn't. So the point of this is to get people to see it. So if you put it on a different site that people see, right? I just gave YouTube because it's really popular and everyone's on it. But if it's your school website and they let you post it, or some other site that you've made, maybe you created your own website, right? That's possible. There's a lot of Google sites and Wix and things like that. They let you make free websites. Maybe you decided to make a free website as a part of your campaign, but keep in mind, it has to be something that people are going to see. So if you put it on a site that people aren't normally on, you need some way to spread the message that you should go see the site to see my video, right? Either, you told people about it at your schools. There needs to be somewhere you emailed people, however it is that you want to do it. Wherever you put that information that you're putting for your campaign, it has to either be somewhere where people will naturally see it, or if it's somewhere where people aren't going to naturally see it, you need to somehow direct traffic to that source. So you need to tell people about it so they can go there. Somehow you need to get people to see it. Don't put it somewhere where no one's going to see it, right? If you put it somewhere where no one's going to see it, then you need to do something else to make them be able to see it. You need to be able to tell them, go and look at it, right? If it's somewhere like on YouTube, or some other social media, even then you need to be able to spread it. Like, people aren't going to naturally stumble upon it unless you tell them about it, right?
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Wherever it is, you need to be able to tell people and check it out. All
Okay.
right, Amirah Harun.
That's not actually my name. I just know it.
Okay. What's your name?
Inaya.
Inaya, what's your question?
So my question is, what do you mean by the presentation? Well, what do you mean by the presentation supposed to be relevant?
Okay, where did I say that? Can you tell me which slide that was on?
It was on all the rubrics, all the slides, the three slides with the rubrics on them.
Okay, here where I said it needs to be relevant to the target audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what that means is that you have a target audience, right? You have certain people who you want your message to get out to. Maybe that's the people in your masjid, right? So if your target audience, for example, is the people in your masjid, right? You want whatever platform you choose to be relevant to them. So if the people you're trying to get your message to is the people in your masjid, you're not going to post posters in your school, right? Because the people from your masjid may not be in your school. They're not going to see it. You need to put it somewhere that's relevant to them, which means it's related to them. It's something they'll be able to see, right? So you put it in a place where they can see. It might be online, right? Because they probably go online sometimes, but you need to tell them in person, oh, hey, look online for this information because I think there's something important there, right? Or you can put posters up in your masjid, right? Because that's the people you want to see it. If the people you want to see are in places all over the world, right? You don't want to put something just at your park. You don't want to just be handing out pamphlets only at your park. If there's people all over the world, you also want to be doing something where people all over the world will be able to see it, right? Because that's your target audience. So you want to put it maybe online, or you want to maybe, the same pamphlet, maybe you turn it into a poster and post it online, right? So whoever your target audience is, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is something that will reach them, right? Not something that will reach some other people or not reach anyone, right? So that's what I mean by it has to be relevant.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, Salsabil.
So for the essay competition, the speech, is it just going to be the essay, or do we have to, what do we have to exactly, the speech, what is it gonna be the essay basically?
Basically, yes.
The essay?
But again, go to the workshop next week and the week after that for more information. Okay, but essentially, yes, it's the same content that's in the essay. It's just you tweak it a little bit to make it sound like a speech instead of an essay. But otherwise, the actual idea should be the same. Yeah.
Okay.
You can change stuff if you want, but it can also be the same. And look in the chat, right? There's information on when each of the workshops will be, and that's your best place to find more information about the essay and speech competition, or the next 2 workshops. Okay. Any other questions? Ahlam, you still have a question?
I have another question.
Go ahead.
So on your website for the event format, there's essay, speech, extemporaneous speaking, and information campaign. Is the essay and speech practically the same thing?
Yes, it's the same thing. So if you're doing essay, you have to do the speech. If you're doing speech, you have to do the essay. It's going to be the same. It's one aspect of it is before the competition, and the other aspect of it is during the competition, right? So it's something that's kind of like a combined thing. So the content for your essay and speech is going to be the same content, right? You just have to prepare it differently. So it's the same.
And for the extemporaneous speaking, what's that?
That is basically on the day of the competition, you are going to be given a topic and you are given a certain amount of time to, and Dania, please correct me, to prepare a speech on the spot, right? So you don't have like weeks to prepare like you do with the essay and speech competition. In the extemporaneous speech, you only have a certain amount of time on the day of the competition to prepare that speech. So you have to be able to think quick and write a speech quickly and present a speech on the spot.
Will they give you the topic on that day?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay,
Do
so
you have to sign up for it, or is it automatically given to you?
I'm sorry?
so for extemporaneous, you can sign up for it in advance. And then on the day of, the topic will be given. And also, I just wanted to make a point. So thank you everyone for all of your amazing questions. This seems like everyone has a lot of questions, both about the information campaign and also just the essay speech contest. But just for today, though, Sister Amirah was presenting a lot on the new information campaign. So if we could keep the questions more towards the information campaign, because just like she mentioned, next week, we want to make sure we have questions for next week too. So please, please, please join us on December 10th and December 24th, because those workshops will be more geared towards these questions that everyone is asking about the essay, the speech, extemporaneous speaking, all of those related questions. Please, please, please join us next week, because I think we will have like even better information and more information to help clarify any of the questions that you all have today. So just for the remainder of the workshop, if we could just keep questions more geared towards the new information campaign, that would be greatly appreciated. And then inshallah next week, please come again so that we can ask more questions to our workshop leader next weekend, just so that we have questions for next weekend and it's not just the workshop information, because anything that you have about essay, speech, extemporaneous speaking, again, that would probably be better understood for next week. And then today, this new information campaign. Again, everyone had amazing questions, and I think a lot of people had a good amount of questions for the information campaign as well. So if we could just keep it on that, inshallah, and then any essay related questions for next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Dania, Ahlam, do you have any other questions? Your hand is still raised.
Oh,
Okay. So if anyone else has any more questions, please raise your hand or write them in the chat. We have about 5 minutes left. I am going to spend these last few minutes, unless anyone has any questions, just letting you guys know what are your next steps. So if you have not registered for the information campaign yet, you're going to go to the JOT form, which you might have gotten an email. If not, it's in the chat, the registration form, and you're going to press on information campaign among whatever else you want to register for. And you're going to submit that form. Once you've done that, we want you to submit your topic. And again, I sent that in the chat, but it's also here as a QR code that you can scan, right? And so we want you to go to this link. It's a Google form, and submit your topic proposal. And that just is, what do you want your topic to be? And if you have a second idea, in case the first one doesn't get approved, what's your second idea, right? And we will get back to you, inshallah, within a few days on whether or not your topic is approved. Once your topic is approved, then you start your campaign, okay? And I will email, inshallah, we will email all this information to you as well. Once you've registered for the information campaign, we should have your email, and we will be able to send emails to you directly. And last but not least, once you start your campaign, if you have any questions about, you know, something you want us to look at maybe, or a question about what you can or can't do, but keep in mind it's pretty open, so most probably you can do it, but if you want confirmation, please feel free to email us. This is the email, info@mafic.org. You can email this email if you have any questions about the information campaign specifically. If you have questions about anything else, you email essay@mafic.org, I believe. And you can find out more about that next week and the week after, inshallah, the other workshops. All right. Any last questions? Yes. So the timeline for the information campaign is just something that on presentation day, in your PowerPoint presentation, we need to be aware of when you did each thing. So if it's not there, we're going to ask you about it, right? And basically the timeline, you don't have to draw a timeline. You just have to give us, say, you know, I started it on this day, and on this day I did this, and then the next week on this day, this is what I did. Just give us an idea, and it doesn't have to be long. It just has to be brief. Just give us an idea of how you spent the last 5 or 6 weeks. We just want to know that you spent the whole time doing it and that you didn't just start last week, okay? And that you spread out your campaign over the time and you didn't do it all in the same week or all in the, you know, same few days, right? We need to know that you spread out the content over the entire amount of time, okay? So in that sense, yes, it is mandatory. It doesn't have to be something fancy like a, you know, a timeline with like little, you know, lines for each. It's not like that. It just is, you need to give us an idea that you spent the entire amount of time doing the campaign. Thank you for asking that question. Any other questions? Ahmad, yes.
So on the registration, do you have to pay extra? For example, if you did 2 things like the essay and the information campaign, do you have to pay double the amount of money, or is it the same amount of money?
Dania?
So again, in terms of the payment, it shouldn't be double. That I think is for sure. It won't be like double the amount. But again, I will talk to the head for EPC and then get a little bit more information about the payment. And we'll send out an email to clarify more about the payment. And also, I think someone earlier asked about the grand prize. So we'll just send out an email, inshallah, either today or later this week to clarify the payment question, inshallah.
Okay, thank you. If there are no more questions, that will be all. Again, email info@mafic.org if you have any more questions about the information campaign. And you should be able to access the rubric on the website. And we will try to send guidelines to you once you've registered for the campaign, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم.
Thank you so much.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا.